Welcome to Reading and Writing Skills, Claim of Facts, Explicit and Implicit Claims in Written Text, Second Semester, Quarter 3, Week 6. I am Mr. Nelson Sambalad and I am your teacher for this course. So you have there the image fact check. What particular lesson when you were in elementary or junior high school you had dealing with or can be closely associated with that image fact check? Try to recall it. Okay, you got it right. You have there the fact or opinion lesson, wherein you learned that whenever it is a fact, it has a source, it talks about truth. While if it's an opinion, it is based on someone's judgment. So let us find out how is it related to our discussion for this week. Lesson 1, Claim of Facts. As a critical reader, you may encounter texts that exhibit specific claims. Some can be directly stated, while others can be mentioned indirectly. It is important to know how you can identify them and how you can distinguish the type of claims a written text has. These are the key concepts and skills you have to learn in this lesson. So see to it, class, that as we finish discussing this lesson, you have the mastery of those two skills. What are those? Figuring out the specific claims that we have in the text, and of course, identifying what type of claim you encountered in the text. Okay, let's have the next slide. What I need to know. Reading engagement becomes very productive when learners like you have to be conscious in giving sound reactions about the text. This is a manifestation that your attachment towards the reading materials becomes intense. Consequently, you are reaching the stage where critical reading happens. As critical readers, you can assess texts that exhibit specific claims such as claim of fact, claim of value, and claim of policy. So, was there a time in your life, or are you still experiencing looking like that man who's very engrossed on making connections with what can you to the new ideas that he is getting from the material that he is viewing? So, if there is such occurrence in your life or is still occurring in your life, then congratulations, for you are a critical reader. And being a critical reader, definitely you're a critical thinker. And if you are a critical thinker, it's given that you know how to pinpoint, or you know to pinpoint the claims that are present in the material that you are viewing, and you can also classify them whether they are what claim of value, claim of fact, or claim of policy. Okay, let's continue. What students need to know. This lesson is divided into a variety of activities which you will answer at your own pace so that you will be able to learn the skills that will enable you to read critically and react logically. The lesson is divided into three lessons, namely Lesson 1, Claim of Fact, Lesson 2, Claim of Policy, Lesson 3, Claim of Value. After going through this lesson, you are expected to identify claims explicitly or implicitly made in a written text, determine the key elements of explicit and implicit claims, differentiate claim of fact, claim of policy, and claim of value from each other, and lastly, identify claims of fact, policy, and value presented in written text. What's in? After learning about the properties of a well-written text, analyzing the stand or argument of a text would be your next step. Here, you are encouraged to illustrate a good level of understanding of written text through verification, affirmation, and assertion. This undertaking leads to bits of information covering a discourse called claims. So look at the image there. We have there the man wearing pink shades stating social media makes our society less safe. So that is his opinion, that is his claim or belief regarding social media. And you have there the guy wearing blue shades saying, well, I don't think so. It allows people to communicate quickly in times of crisis. So that's his argument or claim. And he's able to support it with another statement. The Wall Street Journal reported that during the 2015 Paris terrorist attacks, people in Paris used Twitter to let terror victims know their addresses in case they needed a place to take shelter. So as he added that statement, he's able to make his argument stronger or strong, yeah, stronger than the claim given by the man wearing pink shades or red shades. So again, after we studied the properties of well-written text, then it is what? High time for us to encourage ourselves to illustrate a good level of understanding of the written text. So we are going to study the details in our written text or in the written text that we are reading by verification, affirmation, and assertion. So we are going to figure out what are the details in the text and making connections. You have there the verification, affirmation, and assertion. So this undertaking leads to bits of information covering a discourse called claim. So the more we can pinpoint the claims or lead to better claims in our written text. Okay, so let us continue. What's new? Examine the pictures below and write one direct and one indirect observation for each. So we have here two images. So direct observation, indirect observation. Let's have the first image. A boy is reading. That is the direct observation based on what we can see on the image. The indirect observation, the boy is giving his time reading the certain book for his exam the next day. So that could be our indirect observation. Then for the direct observation, dealing with the second image, there are two girls playing or taking a bath in the rain. In direct observation, the two girls are just concealing their true emotions, for they are both broken-hearted and they are just trying to make appearance that they are happy. That's why they taking a bath in the rain. So direct observation, indirect observation. Okay, so let's find out how is this related to our discussion about claims. What are claims? Claims are synonymous to belief, argument, assertion, or stand. According to Tiongson 2016, in a certain book, pages 20 to 21, a good claim should be argumentative and debatable, specific and focused, interesting and engaging, and logical. So, whenever we talk about the claims, we are pertaining to the information that you have in your written text or the details that you included in your written text or in the written text that you are reading. So this information can be explicit or implicit. Whenever we say explicit claim, it's directly and clearly stated in the text. It is when you can easily point out the information in the passage, meaning to say it is explicit claim whenever you are able to encounter the text or the statement coming from the passage, or it is what stated clearly mentioned in the passage. Meanwhile, an implicit claim is indirectly expressed in the text, and you need to look for clues or make inferences to understand its meaning. So, whenever we say implicit claim, you have the presentation of ideas in an implied manner. So, they are not directly stated in the text, but they are being implied, or you are being given clues, or the ideas that you are reading are leading you to such thinking. Okay, so again, implicit claim. So the presentation of ideas is in an implied manner. There are three types of claims in written text, one of which is the claim of fact. Simply, this claim is a statement that reports, describes, predicts, make casual claims, or whether something is a settled fact. So whenever we talk about claim of fact, we are talking about truth. So simply, this claim is a statement that reports. So it is written, it is from a report, so meaning to say it can be verified. It describes, so based on what has been seen, just like in the activity dealing with direct and indirect observation. So the direct observations that we provided are automatically under claim of fact. This then the predicts, of course, predicts anchored on statistics or data. Then you have there the make casual claims because they are general truth or common knowledge to people. And it can be what? Whether something is a settled fact, it's recorded in the history, or it is a universal truth. So again, whenever we talk about claim of fact, we are talking about truth. So it is very important that you can determine the truthfulness of ideas in materials viewed or viewed materials. Okay? And how can you do it? Simply by figuring out whether a statement is conveying a fact or an opinion. Okay, whether a statement is a fact or opinion. So whenever it is a fact, then you have their claim of fact. Okay, so that will be all talking about claims, explicit claim, implicit claim, and claim of fact. What's more? Activity A. Read the text and write down E if the piece of information is explicit, or write down I if it is implicit. Congratulations, Rosie. Your parents must be proud of you. The teacher greeted her with delight. It was graduation day, and Rosie managed to stand on stage and delivered her speech in front of her fellow graduates and guests. She ended her speech thanking her alma mater and her parents and said, "Let us trust God's plan." Rosie left the stage with tears in her eyes as the clicking of medals could be heard from afar. As she approached her parents, they kissed her and gave her a big hug and uttered, "We love you, dear. Your success is our success. We will surely celebrate at home." So let us proceed identifying if the given statements are explicit or implicit claims. Number one, the teacher congratulated Rosie. Is it E or I? The answer is E. It is explicit. It is in the passage. Number two, Rosie stood on stage and delivered her speech. Is it E or I? Again, it is E. Explicit. It is in the passage, directly stated. Number three, Rosie was full of happiness. Is it E or I? The answer is I. It is implicit because that idea is implied and not directly stated in the passage. Number four, Rosie was a hardworking and intelligent student. Is it E or I? Again, the answer is I. It is implied. It's not stated, but it is being pertained to in the passage. Number five, the parents of Rosie promised to celebrate her success. It is explicit or implicit? The answer is explicit. You have there the last sentence. We will surely celebrate at home. So meaning to say, it is directly stated in the passage, therefore it is explicit. So let's have the letter B activity. Put a check mark if the statement is a claim of fact and put a cross mark if it is not. Number one, the Department of Education shows its readiness on the new normal in the teaching and learning process. Is it a check or cross mark? The answer is check mark. It can be verified and it is really occurring. Number two, curfew must be enforced by parents to their children. A statement of is it a statement of fact, or is it a claim of fact or a cross? The answer is cross because not all parents are enforcing curfew on their children. Also, you have the must be praise, which communicates that it is an opinion of someone, and of course no, there's no authority who's ordering it, so it's not a claim of fact. Number three, vaping can have some side effects, can have same side effects as smoking. Is it a claim of fact or not? The answer is check. It's a claim of fact because there are studies or researches that can prove that vaping have the same side effects as smoking. So it can be again verified and it talks about truth. Number four, the closing of Philippine borders to tourists is one way to slow down the spread of COVID-19. Is it a claim of fact or not? The answer is claim of fact because that is what actually being practiced to slow down the spread of COVID-19. So it's a common knowledge and it is what? Given that it is what? It is a practice that is existing. Number five, doing videos in TikTok is more exciting than blogging. The answer is what? Across. It's not a claim of fact because it's only an opinion of someone who is fond of TikTok. And again, it's not a general truth. Number six, research says that people can reduce stress by taking a nap. So, what is it? Is it a claim of fact or not? The answer is claim of fact. You have their research says. You know that if it's a claim of fact, you have there a basis. Number seven, it is more beneficial for a child to grow up speaking more than one language than knowing only his or her mother tongue. Is it a claim of fact or a cross? The answer is cross. It's not a claim of fact because the existing situation is not like that, and it is not a general truth or universal truth, and it's not applied to all. It cannot be applied to all because as what you can recall, or as what we have in the present, actually we have there the teaching of mother tongue on grades 1 to 3, believing that there should be mastery on the mother tongue first before learning a new language. So that is not a claim of fact. Number eight, national ID system should now be implemented in the Philippines. That is what? Claim of fact or cross? Again, it is cross because what? It is not existing, actually. It is not being imposed. Okay? Number nine, Neil Armstrong made a history as the first man to walk on the moon. Is it claim of fact or cross? It's a claim of fact because it's recorded in history. So it can be verified. So again, whenever we talk about claim of fact, we are talking about the truth. Okay? We are pointing out the truthfulness of the statement. The number 10, watching K-drama is the best form of entertainment. Is it a claim of fact or a cross? Definitely, it's a cross because it is just an opinion about watching K-drama. So it's not an authority, it's not based from research, there's no basis. Okay? So done with letter B. Hopefully, your minds are now enlightened about when are we going to say that a statement is a claim of fact or not. So let's continue. What I have learned on a separate sheet, copy and complete the table below by listing the needed information. Three things or three new things that you have learned today. Of course, definition of claim. What is the difference between explicit and implicit claims, and of course, what are the three types of claims? Number two, two things that you will work on for improvement. Number one, of course, identifying if a statement is a fact or opinion because you have learned that it is what the best way to check whether you are being exposed to an idea which is communicating truthfulness or not. And another thing, of course, making yourselves aware or that knowledgeable on facts, existing facts or knowledge that will help you classify or identify instantly if a statement that is presented to you is a claim of fact or not. Then, number one thing that you should review before moving on to the next lesson, of course, we should review on when are we going to say that the statement is under claim of fact or what is really the meaning of claim and what is that claim of fact. So further reading about it and exposing ourselves to many examples. Okay, so that would be all for what I have learned. What I can do, on a separate sheet of paper, write a 150-word paragraph on a topic about social media, benefits, and drawbacks. In this essay, you are required to use claims such as a claim of fact, which you learned from the lesson. Indicate the claims you use, and write it at the bottommost part of your paper. You are free to encode and print it on a bond paper. A rubric is attached for your reference on checking the essay. The highest point that you can get for each criterion is 5 points. Otherwise, if the description for each criterion is not met, you will get 4 points. This writing activity will have a total score of 20 points. So you check your Google Classroom regarding this activity. Rubric per essay. Let's have the criteria. Use of claims. Did you use five more arguable claims? Second, content. Does your paragraph show focus on the central idea? Did you provide evidences to support your claim? Third, structure. Did your paragraph show smooth and logical transition? Is it organized with a good flow of thought? Then, lastly, conventions. Does your paragraph show little or no errors in sentence structure, spelling, capitalization, and punctuation? Did you use formal vocabulary with appropriate tone? So, another 5 points. So the total will be 20 points. So as you can notice in the criteria, you have the application. You will be applying there your knowledge of the four properties of well-written text and the inclusion of the use of claims. Okay? So again, check your Google Classroom for this activity. Thank you. Have a good day and God bless us all.